I just went to the house or my father's house one weekend and all my dolls were gone. And my dad was just like, yeah, no, no more dolls. You're done. And I was never given like an explanation or reason or anything. And it was, I think that is why it turned into this
Yeah.
eventually.
Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 7. Yes, I said that correctly today, episode 7. Yesterday was episode 6. So, just to clarify that. Today on our interview, we have Sean. And he is a big Bratz fan. So, this is his interview.
Well, my name is Sean, and I live in the United States, particularly in New York. I'm upstate, not the city. I feel like I always have to clarify that.
Right.
Um, yeah, that's it. Quite the time zone difference between you and I, but we made it work.
Yes. What is the time with you now?
Right now it is 12:04 p.m. in the
12:04.
afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, it's just gone 5. So,
Oh, your day's over. Mine's just getting started.
yeah, your day is just getting started. My day's over. Well, I say it's over, but it's far from over for me yet. So, but anyway, so let's get on with this interview. By the way, loving the t-shirt with the Bratz. It's definitely representing our topic. So thanks for that. So when did you know you wanted to collect dolls?
I mean, when I was a kid, honestly, like as soon as I like was interested in toys, dolls came into the picture, and it wasn't like the greatest journey, and we'll get into that later, I imagine.
Yeah.
But I remember like being 8, 9 years old, laying in bed and just like manifesting this life of like I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna have all the dolls I want and I'm gonna be a doll collector. No one's gonna stop me, and here we are.
Yeah, no, I totally relate to you on that. Yeah, I remember thinking the same actually, growing up, and I'm gonna have a doll room. And I think like my mum kind of like, I don't know if she started it because she actually had her own sort of mini doll room, which was actually my bedroom when I was a kid. So I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. And yeah, so she kind of maybe started me on the dolls, but I was like, I'm gonna have my own room and stuff, for dolls. So okay, Sean. So which doll was your first doll you ever had?
It was we never forget, right? When you're a doll collector, you just know,
Yeah.
just like that.
You do.
It was a Britney Spears doll. It was one of the Oops, I Did It
Really?
Again ones, where she had the white shirt and black skirt from the astronaut space scene. And I was
Yeah.
a big Britney Spears fan growing up in the 2000s. Like, I had no
Okay, hang on.
choice.
How old are you?
So, what's that?
How old are you?
I'm 27.
27. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I
I
was
was
just
like,
surprised
it came
that.
out, I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I don't remember a life before Britney Spears.
Right, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, because like obviously I collected Britney, but it doesn't seem that long ago for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I it was a Britney doll, and I ended up getting a few more after that for a couple years, and like the leeway with that was because I was a Britney fan, not because they were dolls. But yeah,
Okay.
that's like what started it all. I was just so blown away by the fact that like these outfits from her videos were like turned into like mini fashions, and
Yeah.
I personally thought they did her justice, and I loved the faces, and yeah, it all began with Britney. I have her to blame for all of this, and then when Bratz came out like 2 years later, it was like done for me.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I had my first Britney doll, and now I think about it, I probably was. It doesn't. I know it sounds weird. It just doesn't seem that long ago to me. Like,
Yeah, I
because
feel
I had
that.
so many more dolls before that. But now that I think about it, yeah, I probably was around 8, 9 years old when I had my Britney doll. So yeah, it kind of makes sense why you remember yours that long ago. Um, but yeah, I'm just looking at some now. So I had the crazy one with the what was it? The diner outfit.
Right, right. Her waitress outfit. I
That's
had
it.
that one
Yeah,
at
she
one
had the cool
point.
glasses.
Yeah,
And I
such a
loved
good
mine.
doll.
And now I obviously as an adult don't have that doll, but I did collect lots of Britneys. And now I've only got 2 now, so I'm quite good actually. It's quite good for me.
Me too. I
I
have two at the moment.
Yeah, so we're doing well. So I have obviously iconic Baby One More Time.
Yep, I have that one, of course.
Yeah. And the other one I got is Born to Make You Happy. It's the one with the red top and the little black like
Yeah,
dressy sort of thingy with a little slit in it. They're the only two I've got, and I've also got 3 minis as well. So I've got the crazy one, a baby one more time one, and I've got another random one which I can't remember which video it's from. She's got like a white tracksuit on with red elbows and knees. Do you know? Does that ring a bell?
Oh, it's her tour, one of her tour outfits.
Okay, I thought it
had
might
that
have been.
one and the crazy mini one too when I was a kid. I had both of those ones. They were so cute.
Yeah.
I loved the mini ones.
I loved the mini ones. Like I had the stage and everything as a kid.
Oh,
Like
goals.
I had the stage. I remember getting that for Christmas, and I remember thinking this was like one of the best presents. And I don't know why. Yeah, I think I preferred the mini Britneys personally. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I
But
just too for some reason, just in terms of like play wise at least. I don't know. I had more fun
yeah, I
with them.
think so. I
Played
think
around.
yeah, I think that was the same for me actually. But yeah, I do love them. So they're certain dolls hold a special place in your heart, don't they?
Yeah.
So Sean, I'm going to ask this question. I know we literally probably just talked about it, but just in case you remember anything else. So
Okay.
what was your first doll line? So like obviously I know like you said Britney, and that's pretty much a line, we can both agree on that.
Right.
Or company brand. And also like what do you like best about doll collecting? What is it for you?
Well, aside from Britney, because that was the first line, and
Yeah.
technically I could say the fashion polys too, the Polly Pockets that had the rubber clothes. I
Oh
got
yeah.
those for a while when I was younger, but like I don't personally consider them dolls, so I'll scratch that and I'll say it was
Okay.
Bratz. The first doll that I ever got that like wasn't a Britney Spears doll was a Bratz doll. I don't have the exact one, but she's over there somewhere. It's one of the sports ones, and it was the only doll or a Bratz doll that I ever had as a kid. But that one was all it took for me to have shelves of them as an adult and wear their clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rats I could give credit to for that one. And then the thing I love about them is like what I was saying with the Britney dolls is I don't know, there's like an art behind a good doll if you
Yeah.
have the right doll with the right outfit and everything in its hand, because just seeing great fashion scaled down to that size, and also fashion that more often than not, especially with like lines like Bratz, they're
Yeah.
just so over the top and they have pieces that you can't see happen in real life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just think like there's just such a massive like creativity unplug that comes from like having that appreciation for what dolls can bring to the table if it's the right line and they're creative enough and all that. But yeah, I think it's just the appreciation for literally just like the fashion and stuff. I've always, I'm not a big fashion guy personally, but I have
Yeah.
an eye for it and an
Mhm.
appreciation for it. And I think
Mhm.
rather than making myself a little over the top mannequin, I live vicariously through my dolls and let them have that
Yeah.
life for me. And yeah, that's really it. I think just in
Yeah.
general, the creativity that dolls naturally come with and encourage and
Mm.
throw in your face. What about
Yeah.
you?
No.
What about you? What is it for you with the dolls that like
Oh right.
draws
Oh,
you? Like,
you're the first person to ask me.
oh, I'll talk to anyone all day, every day about their doll stories. I
No
love
one,
it.
no one else on our interview has done that. So thank you. Well, actually, I was going to say, so I did collect Bratz. Obviously, it wasn't my first doll line. My first doll line was definitely Barbie, Mattel, and kind of there wasn't really a doll line as such back in my time, back that time. So it was kind of Barbie and that's all the bits. It wasn't really, I suppose, until like Bratz came out where lines started to happen, whereas Barbie was just released, wasn't she? Mermaid Barbie, Teacher Barbie. I guess it's kind of a brand, but Bratz kind of did, all right, here is 4 of the girls in summer wear or mall wear. Do you know what I mean? They had,
Right.
I would say, more of a line. And I got, obviously, as a doll collector, I got dragged into the Bratz world, of course, because it was new, it was different. And yeah, I had my car. I think I only ever got 5 of the dolls, which was the originals and Megan, because she was like,
Yeah.
I think she was the added one after the 4. So
Right.
I was happy with those. And was, yeah, pretty, they was played with and hair changed and whatever. But yeah, so I do totally get the whole Bratz thing. Obviously I always end up like growing out, I guess, of different type of brands and moving on to a different brand, you know, as I get older. The only brand I've stuck with is Disney, and that's probably what enjoyment for me is. So okay, so this might be a really difficult question for you. I got a feeling I know which brand it's going to come from. What is your favorite doll in your whole collection? And I know, don't tell the rest of them. And if funds were unlimited, what doll would be in your house right now, past or present?
Okay, I'll answer that one first because I just talked about this the other day on my Instagram stories.
Okay.
It's a Britney doll. And have you ever seen the Britney Spears doll that has like a flame outfit on? She has like a bikini top and denim pants, and there's just flames on them.
I think so, yeah.
It's
I
pretty
think so.
neat. It's like a more obscure one, but like it's still up there in terms of like popularity, I guess.
Yeah.
That was the last Britney doll I ever got as a kid, and it was like one of the last ones they made. So at that point, like the dolls were like at their best in terms of like updated screenings, best hair, great outfits. The later dolls really just were so good. And I remember getting that doll out of the box and just being so amazed, and like it was probably more nostalgic than it was as legitimately serious as it was in hindsight. But there's this flame outfit Britney doll who isn't rare by any means. She's just like harder to come by than some of the like music video ones, and it puts her in a price range that I just don't agree with. Like it's really not expensive at all, but it's like I know I can get this for cheap if I wait enough. And it's been 9 years of waiting, so it hasn't happened yet. But I'm a patient man. It'll happen. Between just like not agreeing with prices and then like the little bit of obscurity it has, it's been a challenge. But that's my realistic one. Then there's like a couple like designer ones and stuff that are like limited to 300 that I think I should gatekeep so nobody tries and finds them and increases the market there. I hate to be that guy, but yeah, there's like some Japanese exclusive Barbies that have been released that like are like holy grail hundreds of dollars that I would currently never spend on a doll, but if money wasn't an option, I would in a heartbeat. But I'll leave it at the flame outfit.
Okay,
and
that's fair.
So the favorite doll, I knew you were gonna ask this question, so like I got them prepared right here.
Yes,
and
that's what I like to hear.
So this is one that
like she was bring their dolls to the interview with them. It's that's what it's about. So I
have a whole table of them of like just in case.
Just in case.
Definitely got to talk about this. Whatever the case, I came so prepared.
That's great. That's great. It's what we like.
So it's of course a Bratz, if you could have guessed.
Yeah.
And it was a holy grail of mine for years, and it like randomly fell into my lap last year, so to speak. I think she's an Australian exclusive, and that's what makes her so hard to find. But I've wanted her since I was a kid, and it's a Sweetheart Lily.
Oh, okay.
She's so cute. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I just, as a kid, I saw her in the sample booklets and hyper fixated on her. And I started collecting Bratz like heavily about 2 years ago, and she came into my world finally. I had to import her from Germany, but it was worth every effort. But yeah, I think
do you think that's why? Because she's been so hard for you to get, like you said, she was an Australian exclusive.
I think it definitely adds to it. I mean, just the doll in general, like her outfit, and I love her hair and her face. I mean, the doll itself is like my favorite Bratz character because she looks like me. Everybody has that doll that they see themselves in, no matter the gender or whatever.
Yeah.
But then on top of like the rarity, I'd say she's probably the rarest doll in my collection, if you want to say rare as a thing.
Yeah.
And then just like also the story of like manifesting her and finally getting her and all that. And yeah, she's got like 8 layers of why she's my favorite.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. Like I think for me, when I first collected Bratz, and like even if I look into Bratz now, I can give you a favorite of mine, Yasmin.
I love Yasmin. I think she's my favorite character of like the mainline girls. I have so many Yasmins.
I don't know what it is. She's got this really like attitude problem look.
Yes.
All the original girls. She's got a little beauty spot, and she just she like kind of like I think she's my
so
favorite.
Saucy.
yeah, so saucy. Like she always came with like the skimpiest outfits, and I just loved
No,
her
I
for
feel
that.
like they gave her like first dibs out of the clothing pieces and made everyone else wait for their outfits. That's how I
Yeah, like
see
a
it.
girl band, you know, like
Yeah.
when the girl band comes in, they're like, right, pick the outfits, what you're wearing for the show, that she gets all the best stuff.
She's the Nicole. She's the Nicole of the Bratz' Pussycat Dolls.
Absolutely, yes. Right, okay, so thanks for those answers, they were great. So Sean, this is a good question. What is your experience with the doll hobby with your friends and family?
Um, Better than it was growing up as an adult. I think yeah, I mean, I can't say anything negative about it now as an adult collector. I started casually collecting like when I was 18, and about 3 years ago it got like actually heavier, and then by last year it escalated into like this whole thing. So it didn't come as a surprise to anybody in my life once it did escalate to this point. Because I was just gradually doing it. I would see
Yeah,
like a cat doll that I liked at the store and I'd buy that, or
yeah.
whatever the case was. And my family and friends have almost all been completely just like open to it, unfazed by it. They're like, oh yeah, he's just, doing his thing. This is him.
Mm.
Um, there's like been a couple moments where like I had an ex who like didn't love it, and that's why he's an ex now, because
Hmm.
there's priorities. And like I've met
Absolutely.
people like dipping my toes into the dating world where they're like, I just don't get it, and I'm not gonna try explaining it to them or anything like that. There's the door.
Just,
But
yeah.
aside from that, which is like that means nothing to me. That's all
Hmm.
passerby stuff. But aside from that, like the people who matter, like friends and family, nothing but great, and most of them have even contributed to it in $1 or another. So yeah, it's been great. I'm very, very fortunate about with that.
Oh, that's really good. It's so important, isn't it, for us as doll collectors to have, that's not, we don't need a lot of support, we just need a little bit of, it's just, like when you want to show someone your doll, and obviously you're probably like me, you don't know that many doll collectors personally,
Right.
and sometimes when you're little, you do think you're the only one. And then obviously it's nice, you do want to show your mum, or you even might want to show your dad or your brother or your sister,
Yep.
and for them to just talk to you, even if it is for like a few minutes about that, it really does make you feel good, and I think as doll collectors, we probably don't know how annoying we might be sometimes when we talk about this doll over and over, and they're just like
Yep.
trying to change the subject in the nicest possible way. So I mean, my mum is my go-to, but even she gets like, hey Dwayne, I can't deal with any more dog talk now. Like, but my gran, when she was alive, she was the one. She would just talk to anyone and anything forever and ever about the subject, And she always knew how much it was important to me. So she was like, yeah, she was the best for that. So it not everyone I've talked to. It's really sad. Not everyone has had that. So it's really good. Sean, let's talk about how you enjoy your dolls. Do you dress them up, style them, customize them? What do you do? How do you get enjoyment from them?
Um, Photography, I guess, is the main one, and I use that term lightly because the
Yeah,
photography comes from my phone. I don't have
of
some
course. Yeah, we're all
camera.
photographers nowadays.
Right. I mean, the technology's there, so I'm going to utilize it and call it what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
But that has really become like the number one thing I love doing and getting enjoyment out of. But the process to getting to those pictures too, including, restyling. I love doing doll hair. I'm not like amazing and advanced with the
Mm,
styles I can do, but I can, bring a doll to life and give it some cuteness and whatever. And
mm,
I really love doing their hair.
mm.
I like fight myself with the restyles because like I like to restyle them for pictures, but as soon as it's time for them to go back on the shelf, it's like you have to go back in what you were in your box, like one of your box outfits. So that's like a spectrum. I love doing it, but only for a certain point. Then it's like, all right, get back in your clothes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be the doll photography and the
Yeah.
time it takes me to execute those pictures and do my set pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the number one. for sure. What about you?
Well, yeah, I'm the same. I love changing their outfits. I love buying outfits for them, which is just expensive as hell. And accessories. But yeah, when I was growing up, for me, again, hairstyling was probably the best. I think when I was really, really young, I wanted to be a hairdresser. So hair, I loved creating styles, and I was always really good at, like, at a young age, doing a plait, things like that. And like I remember, like, certain people would be around me, like even my husband now. I'm like, do a plait, and he's like, I don't know, and I'm like, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, you don't play with dolls, you've never had long
Right.
hair, so you never, you know, we just, we just expect them to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the same for me, which is funny actually. So this leads us on to our next question about photography, actually,
Okay.
because I know it is a popular thing to do in the doll community, because we want to show off our dolls, so that's why we do it. But do you take them out in public? And if you have ever done so, have you had any feedback or strange looks or anything like that?
So, like, kind of. I've never like gone into a super public place and taken pictures of my dolls. For
Yeah.
no reason other than like there hasn't been like a huge opportunity or reason to. It's not like out of some fear or anything. But I have taken dolls like camping with me, and I'll bring them to friends' house shamelessly, and my best friend, her boyfriend's mother has a pool, and I hardly know this woman, but I'll take my dolls there and utilize the set piece of her real life pool for my beach dolls. I don't drink too much, but on the rare occasion I might go out for a drink or two. I have taken a doll with me, shamelessly, like one of my mini me ones, and I'll put them on the bar and take pictures, and straight bars, just to clarify, because I live so shamelessly. And I've never, knock on wood, had a negative experience with that. If anything, it might have garnered more attention than I wanted to, but like good attention, people who are just, blown away by why do you have this doll with you, and why are you so nonchalant about it? But yeah, no, I'm not opposed to it. It's just I've never been to a place or had a reason where I thought to like whip a doll out and take pictures and whatnot. But the instances where like one has slipped out with me has always been perfectly normal. And if it hasn't, I didn't notice and it went right over my head. So ignorance is bliss.
That's awesome. I'm the same, like in everything with that, it's just get on with what you're doing, sort of thing. Don't look around and think what's everyone thinking. There's no point. But what I do love about what you said, that you took your dolls out on a night out, that's awesome. Like, that's so funny. See, if I seen someone with a doll out on a night out, I'd be like, oh my God, what is, which doll is this? La, 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 la. And it would be like a good conversation starter. And also, like, by the pool, like, obviously we live in the UK. So as luxury as that sounds, we don't have people with pools. Okay. We don't. That's just, yeah. If they have a pool,
very
it's
much
like
upstate New York thing to know somebody who knows someone who has a pool and just go swim in it.
yeah. Like, if we want to go to a pool, we have to go to the swimming pool, the leisure centre, or a spa. That's as close as we're getting. Yeah, don't hear about that. So, but I would love a pool, like, in my home, like, because I mean, I would have them in bathing suits. They'd be doing all sorts of pictures and stuff like that. My husband would probably come down and be like, what are you doing? I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little bit carried away here. I'm actually playing with the dolls in the pool.
Literally.
Yeah, he'd be like, okay.
My boyfriend's mother like came home, and she didn't care that we're at the pool by any means, but she's like, why do you have this Ken doll floating around in my pool on one of my drink floaties and taking pictures of it? And just,
that's awesome.
Everybody handles me and my doll tendencies with grace, thankfully, and I take advantage of any opportunity I can, including the pools.
That is cool. I love that. Right, okay, so Sean, we did touch upon this at the beginning. You said you was going to save it, so we need to go into a little bit of the dark side of doll collecting now. Okay, and I'm not going to say I like this question, but it is a very important question And everyone's got different answers to it. I'll be honest with you, I'm really surprised that most of the guys I've talked to haven't had this issue. And I find that really strange, because I was bullied for doll collecting from a very young age. So my next question is, was you bullied for collecting dolls? And if so, what was your worst experience?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, just to say, part of what drew me to do this interview and like, speak so loudly on just like my doll story, is because I know how important it is, or at least it would have been to me as a child, to see men like you and I doing this and talking about dolls and showing off, our unapologetic adult doll collector selves, because, there's just a point in my life where I hoped it was possible, but didn't believe it was possible, and, growing up in the 2000s, I think as gay men, we just had a little more tough about certain things than gay people might have to, deal with now. I think things are a lot more accepting and whatever. And so that being said, growing up, it was brutal. After a certain age, I when I was really young, like I said, 4, 5, maybe 6, I had Britney dolls, and I had some Polly Pockets, and I had a Bratz. But once I hit like 7 or 8, it just like switched with like my parents and stuff. And I have separated parents and always have. So I had 2 separate dynamics, and the dynamic at my mother's house was always like, no, just no dolls. I didn't have a single Britney doll there. Whereas at my father's house, he was a little more forgiven. And I think that's my stepmother's graceful, amazing self who made that happen. So, when I would go to my dad's house, it was like, my safe haven, and I would be able to play with my Britneys and my dolls and whatever. But again, after a certain point, I just went to the house, or my father's house, one weekend, and all my dolls were gone. And my dad was just like, yeah, no more dolls, you're done. And I was never given like an explanation or reason or anything. And it was, I think that is why it turned into this eventually. That literal moment of like, going to my father's and expecting to be able to, do my little doll thing and have a nice normal weekend was just like yanked, and it left a void in me for years. And I didn't give up so easily. When you're so passionate about something, you're going to find a way to like, make it happen if somebody's trying to block that from you. So, the following years of like, being 8, 9, 10 years old. Well, first of all, in school, I was really lucky because the kids weren't like, I it was normalized to them. I was just always known as that like weird kid who loved Britney Spears and dolls. So none of my friends, whether they were guys or girls, had a problem with it. It was always in home and like in my extended family where it was like an issue. So like I had like like little girlfriends in elementary who would like give me like a little Bratz to take home, or like a Britney doll that they didn't want anymore. And so I would like hide that in my house, especially at my mother's house, and have my little secret doll for as long as I was able to hide it for. But yeah, my mother got remarried to a guy who was not into it at all. So the fact that my mother wasn't really open to the dolls, and then he came into the picture, it was just like, done so at that point. And I was about 9 or 10, I think. And I don't remember, this one story sticks out to me the most. And it's only something that like recently I finally like closed the hole in and was able to like heal from. But it's still like the worst one. When I was like 8 or 9, I think, maybe even a little younger. I don't know. So those years are such a blur because it got so like everything was yanked from me that I loved. But I somehow convinced my mom to get me this Beyonce doll from Destiny's Child. It was like $3 at a Dollar General. And I like told her, I was like, I'm not going to open it. I don't want to play with it. I just want to collect it and blah, blah, blah. And after being so annoying, she caved and got me this freaking Beyonce doll. And it was like the first doll that I had in years that like was mine. That was, whatever. And I don't know. I ended up opening it and whatever. And that wasn't an issue. And like a week later, I went to my dad's house, and then I came back home, and that Beyonce doll was in my closet with its head ripped off. And I don't even know if I should share this part because it's like insane, but like,
share away. It's
like
free
a
to share.
cigarette in her eye, like they had like burnt a hole in her face and everything, and just like left it in my closet. I think it was my stepfather. And like I was so devastated, obviously. Just being so
Oh,
excited to come home to my little Beyonce doll and whatever. And that was it for like I just stopped at that point. I literally just like, no more brats, didn't care about them when I was with my friends, all of it. And I mean, I replaced that doll finally, like literally just this past year. So like that,
good, good.
like
I was gonna
that.
ask.
So,
Oh, that's
got her
awesome.
head, no holes in her face, thankfully. And
Right.
I knew eventually I'd find her and it would be that moment where that story is all healed. And it is now,
Yeah.
but I'll still give it credit for like why all of this is here and why I became so stubborn. Like as soon as I turned 18 and like came out of the closet, I like started buying Britney dolls, and then I started buying a couple brats and doing this, and I just, unapologetically full throttled myself into like what I wasn't allowed to do as an underage kid who was still, under my parents' control. But there's like other little moments like that, but that
Yeah.
one story I think represents all the little ones prior to
Yeah.
that. But it's,
So,
it is.
so do you, what was I gonna ask? So, is your mum still with this guy now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you don't have a great relationship.
Um, I'm very fortunate that at 27 years old, I'm incredibly independent and I don't need my parents for anything. So I keep them where I want them to be, which is at a very respectful arm's length. There was
Oh,
a period where I just completely like isolated myself, did
yeah.
my own thing, and built myself to this point.
Mm,
But I made sure like if I was gonna have a relationship with either sets of my parents, it was gonna be in my full control. And it took a while to get there, but I'm there now. So it's not a bad relationship, but it's one of
mm,
those things where it's like I never forget, and
mm,
you're never gonna have full access to my life like this as a result. But I try not to be petty, and life is too short to,
yeah.
hold on to things. And I maybe I'm a little more understanding and empathetic than I should be sometimes, and I can be a little
Mm,
forgiving. And so time heals all wounds. And even with my stepfather and stuff, like I don't have love for him. Like he can, exist, but I'm still very civil and, let bygones be bygones when I have to
mm.
be.
Good for you. I think you've got a good head on your shoulders. You seem pretty grown up for your age. You say you're 27. Yeah, definitely much more better than I was at 27.
Well,
But yeah, it is a sad story. Thank you for sharing that. It does make me sad. Like obviously, out of everyone who kind of bullied you the most, it was like the parents and stuff, and that's really sad.
yeah, it was really
But
tough. Like, it
yeah,
creates a lot of like that subconscious, like, I don't even know, just like that lack of validation you need as a kid. You're being told the
yeah,
things you care about the most are like the worst things in the world. And
I
it
know,
gutted me for
and
a
you don't
while. I felt like so
understand.
soulless.
Yeah, and as a child, you don't really understand that. Like, I believe that. I do believe it wasn't. Not everyone's agreed with me. I do believe us doll collectors were born this way. We were born like I think I was born gay. I actually believe I was born to love this.
Me
I
too.
do
I
believe
say
that.
that all the time. I don't
You know?
remember not caring about this. And there's
Yeah.
nothing in me that has this much of a natural, God given passion that just, there's no source of it. It just is there and always has been. That really
Yeah.
resonates with me.
Yeah. Definitely. And like, no matter, like, I mean, I was very lucky in that respect for parents. I was always allowed to collect dolls. I have recently been looking over family videos, and I heard one my dad say in the background when I was about 7 or 8, but we're gonna put a stop to it now, and I think that was happened. That was a thing that I remember happening, but it never happened. I don't know why. I don't know, because my dad's not really one for, like, if I was like, can I have a doll, he'd be like, no. Can I have a doll? Yeah, go on then, whatever. Do you know what I mean? He's like that. Whereas and my mum, I don't. She's never really made me feel like that. But I think it doesn't matter. Like if they did stop you, me, or they, like you said, you did get stopped. I don't think it matters. Like, because look at me, I wasn't stopped, and here you were stopped. You're there. It doesn't matter. You're gonna collect them regardless. So stopping you as a child isn't gonna help you in the future. You're better off
Right.
you're better off as a parent if you don't really like it, for whatever reason, and you don't want your kid to collect dolls, let them collect dolls and hope that they grow out of it. Yeah.
Right. And they're more than likely going to. I
Yeah, I
give
know,
full credit to this for the damage that my parents, have done. I'm very like, into psychology and
yeah,
introspection, and that's, why I've gotten to this point. And I don't know, from that like basic understanding of human psychology, like there's like an 85% chance that like this wouldn't be so extreme if I was allowed to just enjoy it as a kid. I'm
yeah,
at the end of the day glad that they repressed it from me because I get to live this
yeah,
iconic, doll life as an adult now.
yeah.
But again, like you said, I just think if you let kids be kids, they're more than likely going to grow out of something. And if they don't, then
Mm,
it's A, probably something that you yanked from them too soon, or B,
yeah,
just like a God-given passion of theirs, and you should
yeah.
respect and honor that because there's just worse things people could be doing than
Yeah,
collecting
definitely,
dolls.
definitely. So it's so not harm, any harm.
Yeah,
And
any age,
again,
whether
this
you're a
should
kid or
be,
an adult, it's like the most pure
yeah,
thing a person can do, I think.
yeah. And this, I think that's a brilliant saying as well, that people should know, that do not take away your children's favorite toy, no matter what that is, because this could happen.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
even with some of my women collecting friends, they obviously were allowed to, have dolls, but there's like a common theme amongst a lot of like my women friends who collect where, they dealt with the stigma of you grow up at a certain age and you have to get rid of the dolls and,
Mm,
whatever that age might be for some of them. A lot of times though, it just seems like whether it's like you and I or, people
mm,
who've been through similar things like us or them, it always boils down to like we just weren't ready to let them go. They were taken away
mm.
from us, whatever the case is, and now we're making up for it as adults.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that was really interesting. So let's move on to the next question. So I'm really intrigued with this one, and I don't know if you're going to be able to do it, but I'm sure as a dog collector you're going to find something. So, what is your most strangest thing in your collection? I know I've got your phone,
Now,
haven't I? Doesn't necessarily have to be like a doll, but maybe something doll related and stuff like that.
I got it. Hold on one second.
Okay.
And I have a ton of them, but I'm only going to bring one of them over.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
so I don't even know if I'm allowed to have this, but I
Okay.
invested so much money into these things that my theory is it's mine. But
Right.
I have a shelf display
Oh,
of
awesome.
Not Surprise,
Oh,
and they
that's
all
so
fall
cool.
over, but I keep them in there. Um,
Ah.
and I have a bunch of these. Like I have one of there's these like Make It Mini things that came out recently, and I have some of those displays. I have a Mini Bratz one.
That's
For
so cool.
no reason other than like I just think they look cute,
You
and
like
I need
the
places to
designs,
put things.
and it's
So
a display unit.
yeah, literally like in the store, this is what was on the shelf. They had them all packaged on here, and I bought a ton
Right.
of them that day. So my logic was like, this is just holding them for me until I go check out. And they didn't
Yeah.
stop me at the door. They didn't say not to take it. I would have been more than willing to, have given it up and calling it a day. But yeah, it's like in terms of
Oh,
weirdness and like why do I have this? I think this would take the cake.
oh, that's really cool. I like that. So, and it's even got like a doll, isn't it, inside of it?
Yeah, it has, like the little advertisement doll in there, and I'm
Yeah.
never gonna take her out. I have the whole series of this, so
Yeah.
just
But
like
it
I feel
didn't
I don't know.
stop
I
you
feel
from.
like not many people are gonna have this. These always get thrown away and tossed at the end of a work shift where the packaging is empty. They don't keep these or send them back to MGA. So I
Right.
figured a little slice of doll collecting history in the future that I'll be happy I hoarded.
That's a really clever idea. Yeah, no, and I love the fact it comes with a little doll like on display to show
Yeah,
you
I
what you're
think that's
getting.
like my main selling point was just having that aspect of it. Is like I need that.
And they didn't stop you, because like that is like, it's not just a piece of cardboard. That is an actual doll and a few little accessories.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
again, I mean, I don't know how much money I was spending that day on these, but I know I was like finishing the set of them that I needed. So I want to say there was like 6 or 7, which is like $10 a pop.
Yeah.
I wasn't stealing anything. I was investing my money in them. So again, I was a little confident in what I did, and thankfully it worked. Like I said, there were people right there at the checkout, and they had zero issue with it. I don't think every store would be that, generous. I think I just got
Okay.
lucky that day, but you know,
Right. No, that's really good. Yeah, no, that's really good. Like, it's nice of them like to not stop you and be like, oh, you can't take that. But like you said, if it's going to be chucked and they know that, and they can clearly see that you're interested in collecting them, it
yeah.
doesn't hurt. And
I just go to that store all the time and buy dolls too. So I think, it's a smaller store. I
yeah,
feel like they know me by now, and they see me, I'll go in and buy like 4 or 5, 6 dolls at a time, and, leave with, these trundles of dolls.
yeah,
So,
they
I
couldn't
always
begrudge you for
tell
that.
myself, like, they recognize that I'm a collector too and give me that leeway a little bit. And I'll,
Yeah,
show up wearing stuff like this and go get my dolls. So
that's awesome. Brilliant. Right, Sean, so I've really enjoyed this interview. So thank you so much for coming on. But lastly, this is the last part. Is there anything you would like to add, or anything you'd like to say to any other male doll collectors out there?
If you don't have it right now, hold on to your faith in terms of like anything that you're lacking faith in regarding your doll collecting. I don't know who's going to watch this, what age range they might be. I find that even, some of the adult collectors that I follow online still live with their parents and still have little, battles with their parents and stuff, and are just yearning to get their own house, create a doll room for themselves, all those things. So whether it's a kid who's watching this, or literally one of like those adults, or,
Mhm.
just somebody whose collection is just faith, have faith in yourself and your dolls, and everything else will transcend and unfold. And that's the most vague, but like loud thing I think I could offer anyone in terms of being a doll collector. And no matter where you stand as a doll collector or what you're trying to achieve, whether even if you have 1,000 dolls and you're still looking for that one, just have faith. It'll everything works out when you're a doll collector. I always joke that God is so good to you when you're a doll collector. So I'll leave it at that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sean. Really appreciate this. Thank you for taking part in this interview. Stay in touch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Can play with those two. Dun, 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 dun.